All right, so find factors. So we're looking for factors. We've got 24 is 1 times 24, 2 times 12. We know it's going to be 3 times 8, 4 times 6, and then 36, 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, 5, nope, 5 doesn't work, 6 times, nope, 6 doesn't work either. 7, 8, we're back to 9. So those are our factor pairs. So these are the numbers we multiply together to get 36 and 24. Next, let's talk about distribution, distribute. So when you multiply 4x times x, you get 4x to the second. When you multiply 4x times 9, you get 36x. So when you distribute 4x and 4x plus 9, you get 4x squared plus 36. What operation are we using? We're using multiplication. What distributive problem can we make from this polynomial? So we're working backwards. What would we have to distribute to make this polynomial? Let's see, we could do 1 and 12x plus 36. We could do 2 and 6x plus 18. What else? We could do 3. Does 3 go into both? 3 and then 4x plus 12. Could we do 4? Yeah, 4 goes into 12 3 times. 4 goes into 36. So there is several different ways that we could use the distributive. We can make distribution out of this. And no matter which one we pick, when we distribute, we end up with the exact same thing that we start with. So what is the GCF for 16x squared and 36x? Well, 16 is 1 and 16, 2 and 8. Am I missing anything? X squared is x times x. Here we have 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, and 1x. So we're looking for the greatest common factor. What is the biggest number they have in common? It looks like the biggest number we have in common is, oh, I forgot 4 times 4, silly me. 4 it looks like. And then what else do they have in common? They have an x, so it looks like they have 4x as our GCF. So when we're asked to factor something, we're looking for what we had to distribute, and as you can see from this example, there were different ways that we could distribute to get the same thing. So what are we going to do to find out what we're going to distribute? We are going to use the GCF. So the GCF for 6x, so we have 1 and 6, 2 and 3, and we have an x and an x, and then 8 is 1 and 8, and 2 and 4, and 1x, so it looks like our GCF is 2, oh, and they both have an x in common. So we know 2x, and then if you want to think about the activity that we did earlier, if we know that 2x is the GCF, that's got to be one of the factors, right? Because GCF stands for greatest common factor. What would have to be here? So it would have to be 3x to make it a 6x squared, and an 8x would have to be 4. So what I did was I divided both these terms by the GCF, and I get 3x minus 4. So for this one, we're factoring negative x squared. Well, negative is just negative 1 times 1, and then x squared is x times x. Got negative 5x squared is 1 times 5, x times x times x. So what do they have in common? Well, they have a 1 in common, and they have an x in common. All right, so here's the deal, though. If your first coefficient is negative, that means our GCF is going to be negative. So instead of having 1, we're going to have a negative 1x or negative x as our GCF. So what is this going to look like? So negative x times something will have to give us negative x squared, so that's got to be an x. Negative x times something is going to give us a negative 5x cubed. So it's going to have to be a plus, because a negative and a positive is going to give you a negative, and it's going to be 5, and then to get that cube, it should be 5x squared. If you're having problems doing that in your head, you can divide by negative x, and you can see that negative x squared divided by negative x will leave you with 1x. Negative and negative make a positive, which is where I got this plus sign, and then 5x cubed divided by x is going to be 5x 5 and then 2 x's left. So this is the distribution problem that you would have to get the original problem. So here, if you look at this is crazy because we've got lots of stuff going on here. And we want to factor, so we're trying to figure out what did we distribute to make this whole problem. So what is the GCF? What do these two problems have in common? Or what do these two terms have in common? They have an x squared and x plus 2 in common. So x plus 2 is in common. So x plus 2 divided by x plus 2 is 1. X plus 2 divided by x plus 2 is 1. And you're left with a 5x plus 2. So in order to get the problem we just got, the GCF was x plus 2, and the leftover factor is 5x plus 2. Finally, the GCF for this one, what do they have in common? It looks like they have a 3x minus 1 in common. So to find the other factor, we can divide 3x minus 1 divided by 3x minus 1 is 1. 3x minus 1 divided by 3x minus 1 is 1. So we're left with x plus 4. So we would have to distribute 3x minus 1 and x plus 4 to get the original problem.